Okay, so we're live. Um, Basically, I'm just going to give it a minute for people to hop on. Um, tell tell you guys a bit about myself. Um, I know this is in my group, so most of you, hey Don, most of you kind of know me one way or another. Um, and basically, just my feedback or my sorry, it's a weird day. It's overcast and I didn't sleep very well. So basically, I am a spoonie. And the way I identify as a spoonie is that I have chronic illness. Now, when I think of chronic illness, I think mental health and I think physical health. And basically, I have, um, aren't they all weird? Yes, basically. So I um, this was with major depressive disorder, which I still have. And then that was at the beginning of high school. And then later on, after high school and university, fibromyalgia kind of popped up with a diagnosis. In terms of health-wise, I've always been sort of like the kid who's always sick, the kid with no energy. So that's basically the little bit of background info on myself. And this whole live, I wanted to talk about just things I've noticed within the online business world, being in part of that for the last few years. Things I've noticed and the way I've changed their interpretation or their notes of what to do and what not to do to fit my life. So I'd be more than happy if anyone has any questions, pop those up in the chat. And yes, the dog is in the background. So when you build your business online, a lot of the gurus or teachers or trainers or course creators say it's all about consistency. Now, when you think of consistency, what do you usually think of when someone says you have to be consistent with your online presence? I think for most people, people think it should be something they should be doing every day or regularly, or, you know, ongoing consistency with the same sort of plans. You know, like if you say you're going to show up once a week, that's consistent. You say you're going to show up every day, that's consistent. But it's setting up a routine or a schedule to be available or be online or make yourself visible. And a lot of spoonies or people with chronic illness, if you don't like that term, really have a hard time with it. And I'm going to say that consistency can be a triggering word, because it was for me for a while. I thought I had to be there, be a people person, or be, you know, posting something every day. And you don't have to. Honestly, you can be as active or as not active as you want. I am familiar with some entrepreneurs in the online world who just send emails out with no particular schedule. And I think I like that the best, because it means when they're sharing something, it's actually important, rather than getting the same or a email every week if I'm not, you know, if it's not for a specific course or something. So it means that, you know, and it means that they have to, you know, make it worth it. So when you hear about them, yay, here, I have this thing. So that's my idea about consistency. It's make yourself consistently inconsistent, so that when you do show up, everybody's happy about it. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, you could, but I don't recommend showing up once a year because people do have short-term memories and short-term memory and long-term memory issues, especially in the Spoonie world. All right, let's see what else is on my note list. All right, so I'm just gonna invite some people here so that they know where we are. Let's see, here and here and here and here. Adding a whole bunch of people. All right. That should be good for now to get started. All right, so that was consistency. Now, I think a lot of people also have an issue with boundaries. I know Christy said something about having boundaries and setting up boundaries that are concrete for yourself and for your business and for your interactions. I know a lot of us have either been or turned into introverts. We've kind of made ourselves our own little hermits in our own little worlds of our bubbles. And boundaries are very important. Setting up boundaries for yourself so you know when you should, engage and not engage. And in terms of setting up a business, I think boundaries should be set up forefront and first, right? Let your clients know or your team members know what what are the boundaries? When can they contact you? If you send a message at 11 p.m., it's just the way your brain works. You don't want to forget it, but that doesn't mean you're going to respond to anything that pops up, right? So setting up boundaries for yourself and for your business. Usually a lot of people tend to do that with an introductory package in terms of like, after someone signs a contract, it's how I work. Here are my, business hours and stuff like that. And hey, Tina. So, yeah, those are the boundaries. Boundaries are important. And I have a really hard time setting boundaries on myself. I tend to splurge when I'm excited about something or I have, like this burst of energy. And then I tend to crash after, which leads me into the whole topic of pacing. Now, I'm almost confident that everyone who has a chronic illness and has done their own research on their chronic illness has probably heard of the term concept of pacing. So if you've heard of pacing, give me a thumbs up. And if you are really good at pacing yourself, give me a heart. Send some hearts some way. Now, when it comes to pacing for myself, I'm horrible. I either get into a lull where I don't do anything, or a bit of inspiration, or like one day just happens to be a really good day, or something that really needs to get done today, like tidying up the house or whatever. Hang on, the dog's caught on there we go. And it has to get done, right? I'm horrible at pacing, even when I was living by myself. Because there are things that have to happen every day. Feeding yourself usually, feeding the dog, feeding the cat. And sometimes that's all you can manage, but you still got to do it. And sometimes you can't even manage that, and you still got to do it. So pacing is a very, not my favorite term when it comes to planning your life and planning your business and planning for tomorrow and planning for next week. Because pacing, like something that may take everything out of me today could just take me use a little bit of spoons tomorrow, right? So taking a shower today could have used all my spoons. Taking a shower tomorrow, if I had an event or something, could use fewer of my spoons. If we're going with the whole Spoonie analogy. What's next on my list? All right. So a bit more information about me and my business experience in the online world is that at the end of 2016, I sort of came upon the idea and training and all that stuff about becoming a VA, a virtual assistant. And I thought, ooh, this will be great. I can be at home. I can do what I want. I love being, little Miss Office person, answering the phones and whatever. So I thought that would be amazing, which is great. But the VA world is so big and so vast and so many tasks and so many people that I ended up having to niche myself down into a systems person, a setups person for Dubsado, which is a customer relationship manager that does the contracts and the invoices and payments and all that. So I would set up different people's accounts, setting up their contracts and their workflows. And then from there, I just got really tired of dealing with all the changes and keeping up with all the changes and updates for that program. Now, it's great that they had all these updates for the clients, but having to relearn something every month or so because they brought out a new update or a new feature didn't work well for me. Ow, the cat is biting my hand. So basically, from there, I thought, okay, well, I like managing people, right? I'm good at dealing with people and so on. So I thought, okay, I'll be an online business manager. And the online business management was kind of my sort of, I had a difficult client and it just became to be too much of me mentioning things and them not taking my advice or suggestions. And it turned into a very ugly sort of breakup with them, as it were. And so that one kind of hurt me a bit in terms of like bouncing back. I didn't want to go back into it. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I didn't want to suggest things and have things fall on deaf ears, because suggesting things and dealing with people takes energy, and energy is such a precious commodity for us Spoonies that it just, it wasn't worth it, right? Spending all that energy being on phone calls for 2 weeks at a time, not 2 weeks, 2 hours at a time, every day, doing an update and doing the research and stuff, just didn't pan out. Wasn't feasible. So then after that, what I did was I took a little bit of a break. I took a little bit of a break for, say, maybe almost a year. I was still in the online world. I was still connecting with people. I was still, building up relationships, but I wasn't focusing on anything business for my own business, for my own income. I was working on building up a blog and writing and just sort of being in the background, helping people with little things that wouldn't require payment, right? I still wanted to do stuff, but I didn't want to deal with building a business or, people in a financial means. So what I did was I hung out, I made some friends, stayed in friends, and took some courses. And from there, I got my job in the real world. I got a little part-time job in the real world, which I totally support people having an online thing and a job and not having to pick one or the other and not having a grand plan to escape the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 got me out of the house. The 9 to 5 got me showered. The 9 to 5 had a recurring paycheck that I knew exactly how much I was going to be making because of the amount of money per week. So I was doing that for 2 years. And the job I had was well-known tutoring places for about 10 hours a week. So it was an after-school thing, and I was teaching and tutoring, and I've always been interested in teaching and tutoring. And it's always been, you know, like when I was in high school, I tutored. When I was in high school, I taught the other kids in the class what the teacher meant right after the lesson was done. And then from there, I started developing my own little tutoring business to work on finding clients online, right? Because when you work online as a tutor, you've got all the tools of the internet. You've got YouTube, you've got all those online programs for math, to teach math. You've got Zoom or FaceTime. You've got whiteboards and blackboards that you can, you know, do a conference call on. So I started slowly building that up. Didn't want to get too into it because of some conflicting stuff with my job and everything. So I wanted to make sure that my students were not competition for the place that I worked. And that was one of the other reasons why I liked online. And then, so if you have enjoyed your 9 to 5 at any point, if you ever had a 9 to 5 or a part-time or a whatever job, a real job, go ahead and send some hearts or some thumbs up. That would be great. Let me know. And if you didn't, put some frowny faces on. That would be fun. If you've never had a good in real life job. And I'll have to say that that was only the second real job that I actually enjoyed in my life. And I've always had, you know, those like small jobs, no ongoing, you know, be in the morning, done at night kind of situations. It was always smaller jobs that basically shift work. That wasn't, you know, a set schedule necessarily. Hey, Luann. So basically that's where I'm at now, is I had to move back to Ontario. And I moved back I got back the day before my birthday. So I arrived on August 31st after a long drive from Calgary to Bolton, which is in Ontario. My birthday was on September 1st. And by the middle of September, I actually already had 2 local clients for tutoring. Now, that's kind of what is keeping me floating above water right now. Doing that and then building the community here in this group. And I really want to talk about Spoonies running their own business. Now, if you have your own business, give me a thumbs up, give me a holla, and let me know what it is you do. If you've got your own business, whether it's products or services, let me know. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Don. So yeah, if you have your own business, whether it's products or services, let me know. Give me a heart. Give me a love. Send some love. And so within all that pivoting, all that long story was actually for a reason. Within all that pivoting and changing around what I wanted to do, it was always about teaching and supporting other people, right? I had really good connections with other entrepreneurs in the online world who had some sort of chronic illness or complex health issue. And that's where I'm at now. So now I'm looking and working towards building some sort of program, I guess you could say, to really help other entrepreneurs that are Spoonies, whether or not you identify with the term Spoonie, help them get their businesses sort of flare proof, I guess you could say, knowing that they are okay if they have to take a week off to recover from something, right? Everybody, all the regular people like to take vacations. Sometimes our vacations are a bit more often, and not necessarily around the ideal vacationing times of the year. So that's kind of where that whole story is supposed to end up, is me telling you about what my plan is coming forward, is to work on a program, more like a group program, a little mini group program, to help everyone build a little small knit community where they really support each other with their business, right? I've been in other entrepreneur Spoonie groups, and it just sort of turns into everybody just sharing their project or their business, hoping other people will engage, or it's the group owner really pushing their own, one-on-one expensive project or expensive coaching thing. And that's not what I want to do. I want to build little communities, a whole bunch of them, little communities of people who are ready to work together and support each other, even if it's just, like liking their post in the little mini group or in the conversation, right? Making sure that we all know that today's not a good day. I woke up with a headache. I have brain fog. I haven't eaten yet. These things I can't change. These things I don't really have the energy to change, but I still have to make money and pay bills, especially people who have medical bills, right? Because things add up. So from there, I'm going to share a little bit of insight I've had about myself. Woohoo! Yeah, exactly. Everyone just sort of starts complaining about, oh, today's such a rough day, I can't handle it. And then someone else pipes up that says, oh yeah, today it's who has life worse competition, right? And that's not what I want to be about. I want to be about, you're having a bad day, I'm here, I'm there with you. Like I totally get it. I totally give you, a virtual hug. And, maybe we can just sort of be miserable together for the day, and then we'll check in tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be better. Maybe it'll be worse, but maybe it'll be better. So my insight that I've found out about myself. Hey, Tisha. I've basically learned that I have a fear of success. And I think it happens to a lot of Spoonies, because when you're successful, it means you actually have to keep going and doing the thing that you're offering or providing, right? So we have a tendency to half show up, so that, okay, yeah, I don't, if I show up, then I'm still here, and you can't blame me for not showing up, but I'm not going to, be really something engaged with people, because then what about tomorrow? And what if they're bugging me tomorrow with questions and I'm not with it tomorrow, right? I'm having a day of just not happening, right? So, and I think this has been a ongoing theme in my life. I like to self-sabotage. Things are going well. And it's also, I think, part of my, like, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And the dogs are barking. And no way to mute. Anyways, hopefully they stop barking. So I'm doing this to say that I my expertise to Spoonies, whether or not they identify as Spoonies, but they are going to get it. I wanted to do something, I had a plan to do something, but it's going to happen a different day, right? Or, you know, hey, I read your message, I'll respond later. And no one's going to actually take offense to that, right? It's not a, you're not important enough to respond to. It's a, I can't help anybody, but I want you to know that I read what you said, right? I am not ignoring you. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I don't know. Maybe this is a whole bunch of rambling and it makes no sense. So I haven't actually offered anything to my community in terms of like letting people know what I'm actually working on. I've just sort of like alluded to it. So I'm working on that. It's a project I'm working on. And I think right now it's sort of like, it's still building, and it's going to be a mini course, not a mini course, a course for small groups at a time. And I'm gonna develop it and build it up so that I'm offering it a few times a year. And I think I want it to be a bit of a long course, because sometimes, you know, like if we try and do a 5-day challenge and you miss out on day 2 and day 5, you're kind of screwed. But there's unpredictability with life and Spoonie life. So having a longer program or course or whatever I end up calling it, or coach. So I'm thinking, you know, like maybe a couple months, maybe a bit more. So if you actually have taken longer courses where it's, you know, like a group Zoom call like once a week to build your business, or any other work together, and if you had good results, please give me a heart. I would love to see people saying that, yes, this is something I enjoy doing. This is something I would love to do. This is something I would love to try if you haven't done it before. So having the end of the week with enough time and flexibility to, right? It's not homework every day. It's, let's get this done by the end of the week and hopefully we can get there. And if not, then, you know, we'll move. So with the new year, that's kind of where I'm going with everything. Let's see what else I have listed on my list here. Oh, okay. So I've been doing a bit of research on this course, preparing for this course, and I've noticed a lot of people with chronic illness don't identify with the term Spoonie, or they really have a chronic illness with their clients or with their audience. And I don't know if that's something that, like, I want to work with people who don't necessarily don't necessarily identify with the term Spoonie, but I don't know if I don't know if I want to work with people who are scared, or maybe they're scared. Maybe they're scared and they don't know how, but they're intrigued with the fact that they want to share with their audience about their Spoonie situation, right? And I hear it over and over and over again. Oh, when I talked about, you know, my illness, or I talked about a bad day, I got so much more engagement on my post than I normally do. Or I had people actually commenting and say, yeah, I feel you on that, you know, or so I want people to start sort of thinking about being a Spoonie and sharing that with their audience, whether or not you call yourself a Spoonie, but having a chronic illness, sharing that with their audience in terms of really everybody has bad days, even when you're not a spoonie. And everybody understands bad days. Maybe not share, every single day that today is a bad day still, but you can be funny with it. You can develop a different point of view, So I want it to become a bit more of less of the fake authenticity and more of the real authenticity, right? It's not, oh, today was hard. It's today was hard because of X, Y, Z. But here's a funny bit, or I'm still getting through my day because my dog or cat decided to chase the other one and it made me laugh. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. And it is definitely over 30 minutes. So if you've been here the whole time, yay you. I'm going to just ask and see if anyone has any questions or comments about anything that I've talked about. More than welcome to go back afterward and watch the beginning if you missed it. Yeah. And if you're on the replay, let me know. I'll come back and check the comments and so on. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions, any comments about anything I've talked about. If you want more explanation, more detail, I'm an open book. My parents think that's a bad thing. I don't. Because, hey, look, purple hair, rocking it, and I just don't care. Right? Purple, guys, purple. That's real purple. That's not red, that's purple, dudes. That's purple. Purple. So, yeah, this is me in my PJs with a little wrap because it's cold. And I'm showing up. And I'm showing up today. I'm not promising about tomorrow, and I can't help what happened yesterday. And that's the end of this presentation, I guess you could say. Yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, anything, post in the comments. I would love to know if you have included the fact that you have a chronic illness to your audience or your clients. And if you haven't, let me know. That would be good to know. And if you identify with the term Spoonie or you don't identify with the term Spoonie. And thank you. Bye.